Hello, everybody. Today we are going to be reviewing the first movie in a long series of what I believe is probably one of the greatest movie franchises of all time now, as it would be. And we're getting the epic conclusion, I think, finally, as to what is going to happen when dinosaurs and humans have to coexist in the world together. And of course, I'm talking about Jurassic Park. So this movie, this is the first one, obviously, it's just called Jurassic Park. Uh, Came out in 1993, the year I was born, so I can't even remember how old I was when I first saw this movie. I don't think I was very old, though. Uh, yeah, because I think I probably saw the first one maybe around the same time as, um, oh god, maybe around the same time as the third one came out in 2001. I think I might have ended just watching them all, uh, at least with my dad, I do believe. Probably around that time, I think. Probably around 2001, so yeah, because when did Lord of the Rings come out? Because I remember watching, I think probably around the same time as that, because I can't really remember when the first Lord of the Rings came out. I think it might have been that year, actually, the first Lord of the Rings movie came out. Anyhow, not really going to look all that up right now, because we are here to talk about the first Jurassic Park. So, this movie was definitely way ahead of its time as far as animation and stuff goes. I mean, even going back now and watching them, I can still I can see like a little bit of the animation in there, but I mean, my God, they did like a pretty. I'm just gonna fix this lighting, maybe. They did a pretty good job of making the dinosaurs seem real. That's for sure. Sorry, I just feel like some days this lighting's really dull, and other days it's really bright. How's that? Is that better? I know that kind of looks a little weird, the light just shining like that in the camera, but I feel like it puts more light on me, so we're going to keep it that way. So what was I saying? Yeah, I wouldn't really say to you, now I don't really know how the previews went for this movie, but I think if they were probably smart about it, as far as previews went, and they probably didn't show too much, I don't think, if I'm remembering the previews correctly for this movie. So yeah, I think they kind of hid what exactly was going to be happening, and obviously they don't even show much in like the menu. They just show like the dinosaur footprint, or a footprint of some sort. We don't really know what it could be actually, I guess, because we're not really sure. It would have been kind of like a weird concept, I guess, if they had like traveled back in time somehow to the Jurassic period. I suppose that might have been something that people might have thought. Kind of an interesting concept to think about. But this one was much different, where I believe, is paleontology the digging of dinosaurs? I could be wrong about that, but I believe it is paleontology. Oh yeah, it is. Okay, so I guess we should probably go through the cast list. So Sam Neill plays Grace, Jesus. Laura Dern plays Ellie. Jeff Goldblum plays Malcolm. Richard Attenborough plays Hammond. Bob Peck plays Muldoon. Martin Ferrio plays Gennaro, who was Hammond's lawyer. Alex Richards plays Lex. Samuel L. Jackson plays Arnold. Wayne Knight plays Nedry. And who was the son? Who played the son? Oh, Joseph Mazzalo played Tim. Oh my god, wow, he must have been in some other stuff since then. Maybe he's possibly the only one. Well, I guess he has been in quite a bit of stuff since then. Really? Okay. Never mind, I was thinking that was something else, but... yeah, because it seems that the two kids haven't really been in that much since... like the two people who play the kids haven't really been in that big of roles since Jurassic Park. So I find that kind of funny, but I mean, maybe they just didn't want to do that much acting after that. But the rest of them, I think, have probably been a little bit more mainstream, especially Jeff Goldblum. He's been in quite a bit of movies, including, obviously, the newer Jurassic Park ones as well. I think he was in the second one out of the newer series. But it's not really a newer series or like a reboot. I guess it's just kind of a continuation. And yeah, we're finally going to get to see what it's like when dinosaurs and humans have to live together. So that's going to be super, super, super cool. Because we all know how the third one ended. So yeah. But this one is about, yeah, two paleontologists, Grant and Ellie, who have this guy Hammond come visit them, and I guess he's been the one funding their site for all these years. About helping them dig up dinosaurs, right? He says he has something that they're going to want to see for sure. And I believe it's his grandkids, Tim and Lex are his grandkids, I do believe. And obviously we have, what's his face there, trying to steal the dinosaur DNA, Nedry, to bring it back, and I guess probably sell it. I'm not really sure. Anyway, obviously we know that one of the more iconic scenes in that is him getting like spat on by the dinosaur and then ate in his Jeep, and he doesn't end up actually even making it off the island. Most of the people, there's a couple people in this movie that die, obviously Nedry and the lawyer. Yeah, Gennaro don't make it off the island. He ends up getting eaten by the T-Rex. And I would say that's definitely one of the more iconic scenes for sure, where you hear the noise after the power's been, I think, no, that was before the power was shut down. The T-Rex gets out. Yeah. Oh, because Nedry shuts down certain parts of the island, I do believe. He shuts down certain parts of the island so that he can try to get off of it. That's right. Which was obviously to no avail for him. So, obviously we know about the velociraptors at that point, where the T-Rex is in there. And we know that they hunt in packs because Grant says that to one of the kids at the very beginning of the movie. Just one of the kids that's in the dig site. He says that velociraptors hunt in packs, and that the main one will just stare at you while the other two come from either side to attack you and kill you, because yeah, they do hunt in packs. So I guess they were kind of similar to wolves in a certain sense, because wolves do that same sort of thing, right, where they will surround you. So kind of an interesting thing that animals just kind of pick up the instincts of other animals over the centuries. Very interesting for sure. And then obviously, seeing the dinosaurs for the first time was definitely one of the most iconic scenes too, where Grant just goes and taps Ellie on the shoulder, and they're just both like looking in amazement as was it Bronchiosauruses? Are they the ones with the long necks that just eat plants? I can't quite remember. Now, obviously, I don't know the names of all the dinosaurs in this, but obviously the T-Rex and the Velociraptors caused probably the most problems for all of the people. Even right off the get-go, one of the guys that's trying to, I guess, bring the Velociraptors into containment ends up getting just pulled into the cage with the Velociraptors and dying, even though they're trying to trank it and zap it and whatnot. But the most interesting thing was where they get the dinosaur DNA from. And that's actually from fossilized mosquitoes that I guess obviously were on a dinosaur at one point in time before extinction. and then when they die, they end up just getting fossilized in these trees or whatever, like tree sap or whatever, and then the scientists very delicately take the dinosaur DNA out, and then they try to mix it with frogs, but I guess to try to keep all the dinosaurs female, I guess, is what they were trying to do, was mix it with the frog DNA, but then later on Grant says that frogs can actually change their sexuality somehow. I'm not really sure how all he explained it, but there was I guess there's a way that they can change their sexuality, maybe due to overpopulation of one sex, I think was maybe the thing there, so that they could actually change their DNA structure in order to still reproduce. So we find out that the dinosaurs have actually been able to do that because they have the frog DNA in them. So obviously not all of the velociraptors are female if they're mating and creating babies out on the island. So yikes, because if the dinosaurs are reproducing on their own, obviously that's not what you want, because you don't want them to be able to live forever. And I guess there is a there is a way through the system that they can actually shut everything down, and I guess the dinosaurs wouldn't get the proteins they needed, and eventually they just die off. So luckily they're contained within the island at this point in time, so I guess that's a good thing, at least, that they can't get off the island. And at least the main, I guess the people that you're pulling for to survive mostly are the ones who ended up making it off the island, except for kind of except for Hammond. He was kind of not even really thinking about his grandkids during the entire thing. He was just more focused on making the island better the second time around and not letting these mistakes happen again. And obviously, you kind of can't play God with creatures, so clearly dinosaurs is not one to try that with. So, yeah, it was kind of a scary thing to think about that anybody would actually be working on that in real life, so let's keep our fingers crossed that nobody actually is, because that's just insane. It would be an insane thought for anybody to actually have. But yes, obviously the nostalgia of this movie, just watching it as a kid and just being blown away by the graphics. Still to this day, I'd say this is one of those movies that is always going to hold up, because even now, with the way the animation is, I'm sure it is not easy to animate a dinosaur, because you are just going based off of photographic evidence, because none of us were around during that time. So I would say that these are going to be one of the more iconic film series as far as that goes. Even like the newer ones, 30 years down the road, it's still going to be one of those standout movies that was like, wow, what, like, how did we pull that off? And yeah, it's just, I know it's easier to do now with the way we have like computer generated graphics and all that, and some of it probably was much harder to do back in the 90s when we didn't have quite the as advanced technology, obviously. So yeah, kudos to that. Kind of similar to like what they did with like King Kong way back in the 1930s. Obviously, very similar, because nothing like this, nothing quite like this had been done before, to my knowledge, on this kind of grand scale. So yeah, I would say 10 out of 10 for this movie. Obviously, just due to the nostalgia factor and the fact that it was just so far ahead of its time. And I think it deserves a 10 because of that, and just the way they were able to kind of immerse you in this world and really make you feel like, oh my god, what would happen if somebody was actually able to pull this off, and to what lengths would they actually go in order to make this attraction. Because I guess his original idea was a zoo, and I guess it was kind of more of an illusion to him, and he wanted to make something like real that people could reach out and touch and actually see in real life. But obviously this it backfired on Hammond, clearly. And obviously Grant and Ellie aren't going to fund his island, they just want to get off of it. And I can't remember how the second one goes. For some reason I remember some sort of plane crash, but I can't be sure if that's how the second movie goes or not. Anyway, I'm going to start watching that right now because I am trying to get these viewed before the newest one comes out in June here, so that's very soon. And I also want to watch the first Top Gun movie too before, not this weekend coming up, but the next weekend after that, because yeah, it's coming out soon too now. So crazy amount of good movies coming out this summer. This summer is going to be packed with some pretty good movies. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I can say because I don't want to give. If you haven't seen the movie, I don't want to give too much more away. Just because I feel like this is one that should definitely be watched. And it's one you can show your kids and be like, "Hey, when I was when I was younger, I watched this." Uh, so yeah, kind of one of those movies you want to introduce to a newer generation, just to kind of keep carrying it on, right? Because yeah, these are really cool films, and they deserve to be watched for many years. But anyway, I think that's enough rambling at the end of this video, and I will see you guys on this one. Bye bye for now.